Yep.
Hi everybody, welcome to the Tactica webinar today. My name's Emily, I'm from the Birchal team and I'll be looking after the webinar today. I'm very, very excited. We've got the founder of Tactica Gear. We've been going on this expression of interest campaign for the last few weeks and I know a lot of you have a lot of questions. So if you've got any questions, please pop them in the Q&A box, but I'll let you take it away, Mike.
Oh, thanks, Emily. In short, I just wanted to, introduce you all to our company, Tactica. Some of you may be experienced with the brand, be customers, others may not have any idea. So basically, Tactica is an adventure hardware brand that started in the space of multi-tools. We saw an opportunity and a passion in adventure to create really unique multi-tools based on materials that we were familiar with and materials that were 70% glass, so very high-end composites. And so as a result, we started to create multi-tools around that material, and we had great success through our crowdfunding campaigns. And over the years, we've built our brand and refined it and got everything ready to where we are today, which is essentially why we're here again, going back to our community through crowdfunding to actually take the next step for Tactica. Yeah.
Awesome. So what does the next 12 months look like for Tactica?
Well, the next 12 months is really been built on the past few years, where we've been been creating the foundation for the business and been really careful in making sure that our product range was right, our offering to the market was correct, the value proposition, all of these things. And so we've already had a foothold in the US. And really the next 12 months is about now capitalizing on all of that foundation and really pushing forward and starting to scale the business and getting the more people involved in the business to help us do that. Another aspect is to actually have a larger range of a larger inventory for us to actually capitalize on the increasing demand. So we're reluctant to sort of start pushing ahead, because if we can't meet the demand, then that's going to be a terrible result. So that's why we wanted to do that, and then also really engage in our community and the digital marketing side of things. So that's kind of the 4 key pillars over the next 12 months.
Yeah, awesome. What inspires your collections and your products?
Well, Tactica originally was inspired from the word tactile, even though people assume it's tactical with some of the look of our products. But it's they're very hands-on products because of this material. They're nice to touch and play around with. But it was really the sense of adventure and creating products that really fit a modern environment or modern day carry. And we found that multi-tools today are very much built in the way things have done in the past. And understandably, there's good reasons why the big brand multi-tools do what they do. But there's been an opportunity for innovation, and that's where we stepped in to think we could do this differently and still provide multi-tools that are really unique, that are highly functional, designed well, and more importantly, cost effective. So our tools range between $30 and $65 US, whereas other products can be a lot higher. So that's kind of where we're trying to find that middle ground, where we're not on the very cheap end, but equally we're not at the top end. Sorry.
I was just muted.
Yeah.
Sorry, that's
just
my
lost
fault.
some audio then. Yeah.
Whereabouts are your products made?
So our products are made in China. We started manufacturing in Australia initially. Unfortunately, as our products became more complicated, we had no choice but to move it offshore. Even though we had a good relationship with our manufacturer here in Australia, there just wasn't the capacity to really take on board what we needed and the complexity of multiple tools and needs. And we found a really great supplier who was able to handle it and run with it. But in the same vein, our raw material still comes from our factory overseas in Taiwan. So whether we make it in China or Australia, the specialised material still comes from the one source.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Are you intending on expanding the product range?
Yeah, we are. So obviously our core range began with multi-tools, but moving forward, what we found, as you can imagine, someone loves our brand, they buy a multi-tool, they might need a second because we offer different flavors, so different needs. But ultimately, they still want to engage with the brand, but they need something else, which is why we recently did a Kickstarter to launch our torch, the F100, which will be coming out this half of the Q3-4 of this year, and as well as moving into the knife space. So camping, adventure knives, that sort of thing. So that is a very big market for us in the US. Some of our larger customers, we've already sent them designs and they're very excited by them. So they're basically saying, send us samples, and then we're off and running. So for us, it's really about creating that ecosystem of Tactica products so people can engage or connect with us through just say the torch, and then they go, oh, what else do you have? So we really wanted to build out this range of products and also then start to become specialized in certain areas like snowboarding tools or for specific sports and things like that.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
What percentage of your sales are repeat sales?
I'll need to get back to you on that, actually, on that data.
No worries, that's absolutely fine.
Sorry, I don't have it at handy.
How would you describe your customers?
Customers vary, actually. It's quite surprising. So we love going to design markets as well. So even though they're a smaller element, what we love about it is that you can connect face-to-face with the customer. And so as much as our main demographic is male, 95% would be male, with the sort of age distribution between 25 to 55 as the bulk. We still find in areas such as the design markets, we have women over 60 really excited about the brand and buying tools, but not as gifts for themselves. So again, it's really fascinating how we're tapping into these areas that you never expected our customers to be. So what we're really passionate about is connecting in with our community. And as our community grows, we're learning from our community as well, is what are their needs? What are they looking for? How can we better create products that actually meet those needs? So we've engaged with our community from the outset, from supporting our products to where now the community is involved in testing our products before they go to market. And obviously now we're saying to our community, well, come get involved with our business. And so that will continue to foster that innovation and that growth in product ideas and things like that.
Yeah, brilliant. Are you looking to expand into other international markets, not just the US?
Absolutely. So for us, it was really about making sure that you're ready to expand rather than some businesses, it's the shotgun approach where you try to be everything to everyone and then fail. So for us, it was really about ensuring that we can get our systems and processes right so we can tackle a market and then expand accordingly. So we actually looked at the US first, and in the last 12 months, we've actually come back to Australia to start to go into retail here to understand, to make sure we can get our processes right before tackling the US retail market and expanding into that category, into the outdoor space as well. But definitely for us, Asia, Europe, they're big markets. So, and obviously Canada and things like that. So for us, it's very much a staged approach and finding the right partners along the way. So that's where, as our team expands, it's going to create more capacity for us to actually be able to tackle that and tackle it well. Because at the moment, well, in the past, because of what was happening with Brexit, that was such a big headache for so many businesses that we decided to very much steer clear of that, focus on what we were doing and the US market. And so I'd assume in the next 12 months, we'd be definitely exploring the European and then Asian perspective.
Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah.
Do you have any concerns around IP and defensibility of your product?
So IP is always a concern. What we found is that I ran a consultancy for about 10 years. So IP was something that we created and for our customers and things like that. And what I've learned over the years is that you can try to lock down and protect your product as much as you can, but at the end of the day, it requires you to fight it and to have the cash reserves to do it. So our ethos is to really innovate and innovate fast. So someone may copy us, but they're copying something that's old for us because we're on to the next thing. And I think that's really important, is that if you, so it's important to protect it to an extent. So it's a balancing act there of saying, how much do we want to protect it? How much do we protect in certain markets? What elements do we not protect? So for us, our protection in China is important to stop copying, because often people can copy your product and then protect it in China, which then can stop you from exporting, or even your brand or things like that. So they're very, some of them are cheeky. But again, it's one of those things that you've got to make sure that you're moving quickly and you're agile in this space. So for us, it's really about what's next.
Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah.
So how do you intend on executing your growth ideas?
Well, we're basically got everything set up and know where we want to go. So at the moment, what we've been doing, to give you a bit of a broader sort of context, is we've been operating mainly in the homewares lifestyle space, and within that market, like in Australia, some in the US, what we found was that that market was very seasonal. And the reason we did it is because for us, it was an easy way to get into that market with fewer products. And from that process, we learned around what we needed to do to refine our brand, our packaging, our all of those elements, so that we appealed to the consumer, the retailer, the distributor, and we could connect with each of those value chains. And so from there, the main game was that we're an adventure hardware brand, so we should sit in the adventure outdoor space because that is the bigger market. And so last year we went to a trade show here in Australia to test out, to make sure that our brand translated across into that space. And we were blown away because the people were very happy with the brand, the product, the packaging, everything. So essentially it meant that we could now straddle two marketplaces comfortably. You could be in a design store in a street, you could also be in a camping store on the same street, and never the two shall meet, so to speak. So from there, what we're doing to leverage that going forward is we're going to connect with activate our community more and engage them and grow them. So we're looking to bring on someone on board from a social and community perspective to really foster that, because we see that being our asset going forward into the future. Having a very active and very large community, both from a testing ideas support perspective, but also from a company's value for the future, that is a very, very big asset. So people is a big thing. We'd be looking at potentially a business development resource as well, because one of the areas that we haven't tackled yet is corporate branding. For some businesses, we know that represents 40% of their revenue, and so far for us, that's untapped. So that's for us very much low-hanging fruit, and our products are there perfectly positioned for it. So for example, our M250 can be branded and snapped onto the fridge. So again, brand recognition for someone such as real estate agents and things like that, they can gift. So there's opportunities in that space. As far as the outdoor market and retail, we plan to go to the Outdoor Retailer Show in the US next June. So that the show just finished. And so there is where, and the reason we wanted to go then is because we will have our complete complement of multi-tools. We'll have our torches and we'll have our knives, and we'll probably have more iterations of knives. So we'll come into that show really showcasing, here we are, and here's a complete collection of products to get people excited by it. As far as the retail space goes, we're looking to partner with a Australian company called Brandscope, who has a B2B business, and they are very large in Australia and then overseas, especially in the US and in the outdoor space. So basically it means that we can tap into the outdoor market very quickly with very little resources into the retail space. But again, we wanted to make sure we were ready with point of sales, documentation, or everything to make that process seamless. So when we started the process, we could continue to go and grow from that.
Yeah.
So
Awesome.
yeah, they're sort of, don't think I've missed anything, but sorry. Inventory is the other thing, is that's where the other element of the capital raise is, to help us to sustain those things, such as the corporate branding, such as the outdoor sales, etc.
Yeah, brilliant. So you're no stranger to crowdfunding. How do you intend to communicate with your investors moving forward, and how often will you be communicating with them?
Yeah, so we're keen to engage with our investors, and it's been fantastic because over half of the people that have indicated they would like to invest are customers or previous supporters, which is just, I'm blown away by that. It just means we're on the right path and doing something right. But with our investors, we do want to engage with them on a regular basis. So we'll be using a platform called Cake Equity. We're just finalising that now, but it means that that'll be the one portal or point of contact where we can upload annual reports and that sort of information, and people can get them. But as far as investors, you'll be see our activity on a weekly basis as far as newsletters and things like that. But then we'll be giving updates on, I guess, major milestones or things we'll be tackling into the future, or the next, where we're going, so that they're aware of what's coming up. Whether we need further investment if we're tackling something large, such as like we're looking at additive manufacturing into the future. But again, that's well down the track.
In addition to expanding sales volumes by exploring new markets, how do you expect your pipeline of planned and existing products to keep the business buoyant?
So again, with our products, we're finding that we've really just scratched the surface as far as people being aware of the brand. Although we are starting to get out there, we're just finding that we're nowhere near market saturation at all. So from that perspective, there's so much opportunity for our existing products to continue to grow and find demand through existing and new markets. Obviously, resellers such as retailers, reordering, etc. But from our perspective, it's always about new products and innovation. So just because we have a product, if it's not performing, we'll then phase it out and then continue with the next. So at the moment, all of our range is working well and it complements one another. But moving forward, as we start to expand, that's definitely going to be a consideration to say, okay, what's time for a product to retire or inject new life into it. Like we did a collaboration with the brand Nog, where we had our original tool, the M100, and we added some, in collaboration with them, we converted it into a bike tool by adding tyre levers and extra hex bits. So this one. So this was our original tool that we had. It's available in colours now, but then we developed these tyre levers that snap on magnetically. And so now it's like a little Batman tool. So again, it's these sorts of innovations that will continue to keep things fresh. And as we expand into markets, there's always going to be opportunities for different types of torches for different needs. Same with knives, whether we get more into, kitchen cooking, that sort of thing. So there's a lot of different opportunities on that front.
Yeah, brilliant.
Yep.
So what was the revenue in the last 12 months?
So we're sitting for the 3 quarters up into this. So this financial year, the 3 quarters were up to the $800,000 mark. So we've doubled what we did the previous 12 months, which was during COVID.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Since manufacturing is overseas, what plans are in place to tackle possible issues such as manufacturing or logistics delay, maybe even with COVID? And are there plans on having stocking, inventory and warehousing at each region that you intend to supply to?
Yeah, so currently, because of our manufacturing is located in one source, that's definitely a concern, rightly so. I come from a background of material science and manufacturing, production and supply chain logistics. So as a designer with that background, I'm acutely aware of these challenges. So that's why our products are small, light, all of these sorts of reasons that we can air freight quickly. We don't have to sea freight, even though there's a higher cost, we have good margins to absorb that. There's those sorts of things. But from a production perspective, with our larger customers, we work well ahead. So for some of them, we're working, like we delivered items in March that were ordered in September. So just to make sure that we could produce without any issues, we could deliver via sea freight, knowing there were delays. So we incorporate buffers. And so from an inventory perspective, absolutely, we'd be looking to hold inventory in China, in the US, and then obviously in Europe and in Australia as well. And then so depending on, how we are going, whether we actually stock in the US, in the East and West Coast, etc., through the expansion.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
What percentage gross margin on sales did you have for the current financial year?
So current financial year is 58% gross margin. Yes, 58%. Sorry about that. Yeah.
Awesome.
I had it up here. I just.
That's all right. Can you talk about the
Yeah.
experience of the rest of your team?
Yeah. So our team's actually small, and this was by design. So the core team resides with myself. I've got another team member, Jake, who resides in Melbourne, and there's obviously Hunter, which is the other director. So I come from a background of, like I mentioned, material science, production, supply chain logistics, and then design. So I'm finding that it's perfectly positioned for this, where I understand the design element, but also the commercial element, the production, the needs to work with manufacturers, and essentially to be able to have those relationships all the way through the value chain. Jake is our fellow designer, but equally he's an integral part to the business. He handles, so many things from, can't imagine. But he's definitely there side by side with me. And Hunter's been a fantastic resource all along. He's come on board as a director, but he's been in marketing for many, many years, written books, started multiple companies. I'm very lucky to have Hunter on board, and he'll be acting as chairman and continuing to advise and direct in that sort of capacity going forward. So I wanted to let you know that the idea still going forward is to keep the team lean. So I believe you can do a lot with a little, and you don't need people, resources to just pile on into a business. So that's why we're very much on trying to automate as much as we can, have the systems and processes in place, so that then the smaller team can do so much, but having the right partners matter. So our manufacturing partner is critical, and we're really lucky to have them on board. They are a subsidiary of a larger company in China that handles the Walmarts of the world. So capacity is never going to be an issue for us with manufacturing. Locally here, a lot of the resources that will appear in the offer, actually, they're in the profile page now, I've known for decades. So they've supported us through, they've seen the business grow from the very early stages to where it is today. So from finance, planning, brands, the whole lot. And that's how I like to work, is through having really meaningful relationships with people that you can have for the long term. I work that way with my consultancy and our clients. And so this is the same thing with our production partners and resources.
Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah.
You're going to be offering investor rewards for this offer?
We are actually, and I think we're bucking the trend by doing some really big investor rewards. So basically, you'll see it, all the information in the offer document, but at a high level, if you invest $250, you're going to be eligible for 30% off Tactica products for life. So as long as you're a shareholder, that's it. Forever, you'll get it off retail. So there's conditions, but it's basically, you can't resell and those sorts of things, but essentially 30% off. At $500, you get 35% off. At $1,000, you get 40% off and a custom M120 camping tool. At $5,000, you get 50% off for life, and you'll get a custom M100 K100 knife that's about to go into production in the next few months. And at the 10,000 mark, it's the 50% off the custom knife, but also you're invited to be involved with the product development program. So as to provide input on those sorts of things. So we really wanted to, rather than being 10% or 15%, we really wanted to encourage as much as you're giving to us, I really wanted to give back and say, well, you're on for the ride, and we're excited by what's ahead, but at the same time, you should benefit from it as well. So yeah, so you'll see all the details on the offer document.
Yeah, they're incredible rewards. So what's the first step? What's the first thing you're going to do after the investment closes?
First thing is to thank everyone, because honestly, I'm humbled by this experience. It's been such a great, challenging thing to do, because we've been used to creating products, putting them out on crowdfunding, and it's one thing to have a product out there that people are commenting on and looking at, but now we are the product. So now they're commenting on us and how we're doing things. So it's really humbling to see people that I never knew that I've been talking to say, oh, I've been following your journey all along, and of course I'll invest. And I had no idea. So that's been just such a wonderful experience. But from a practical perspective, I'd probably say we'd be looking for people straight away, and getting our inventory up. So yeah, they're the more practical things, but yeah.
Awesome. And in terms of return on investment, how would you envision this happening down the track?
Yeah, so my plan is always to sell the business. So I'm not looking to grow it to be a 30-year, 40-year dynasty. There definitely is an exit point for me or for the business, and realistically looking at probably between 5 to 10 years, so 5 to 7, maybe 10. It's really about how quickly we can scale and create that value in the business and continue to grow. And again, look to be acquired, sold, etc. So that's how I look at bringing the value back to the customer or the investors.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if anybody else has any questions. If anybody has any questions for Mike, you're absolutely welcome to reach out, or if you've got any questions for the Birchal team, you're welcome to reach out to us. So if you have forgotten something today, please reach out to Mike via the Birchal profile, and he'll be on hand to answer any questions. The offer will be going live next week. So that's when you'll be able to access the offer document, see the investor rewards, and hopefully have any more detailed questions answered then. Thank you so much, Mike, for coming on. And Actually, I've had a couple more questions. How much
Great.
money are you looking to raise?
Look, the range will be between 200 and $1 million. For us, obviously, that higher end is where we really want to get to. And the reason is that it just means that we can do so much quickly. So like making sure that, okay, now we can get the resources we need and yeah, move quicker basically.
Awesome. Will you ever be considering a share buyback scheme at some point?
Potentially. There may be the option, for example, if I guess if we ever seek venture capital or someone else seeks to invest, and there might be a share buyback at that point. So definitely there's an option there for sure.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And Angelica has asked if the offer will be made available via the Birchal portal. Yes, it will. It will be on the same Tactica page that you've been looking at the whole time. But I think that's all the questions we've got today. So thank you so much.
I thought I would mention something as well.
Please do.
It's in our business strategy, so you'll see it on the offer document. But I wanted to highlight that we're very much, it's not what's happening right now and, you know, over the next 2 years, very much looking at the future perspective of Tactica and where we can take the business. And as an adventure hardware brand, you know, that category is all about lightweight, strong, you know, things aren't cheap from a, you know, product cost perspective, and people are prepared to pay for the tools that can deliver. And so for us as a design and materials company, we're experienced in additive manufacturing, but we're excited about what it can do moving forward. So our future horizon is getting into additive manufacturing from a metal 3D printing perspective. So what that means is that we can create products that are unable to be made on traditional manufacturing methods, but it means that we can start to customize and do iterations very quickly with zero inventory essentially, and make on demand. So this could be anything from custom knives to lightweight camping gear or hiking gear, that sort of stuff. But also a big opportunity for us is defense. So looking at how, because we're in the space of tools, what sort of tools we can provide to special operations and those sorts of organizations, and start to supply products that are at that caliber. And because it is at that caliber, that can then permeate through our consumer market as well. So we want to put a stamp in, you know, out there that we can produce that high-end military spec equipment, and then have that filter through our products as well. So again, it's really looking at the future into additive manufacturing, still have the mass manufacturing overseas, but this is about creating the innovation that will actually drive the mass manufacturing and the value in the business. So I just wanted to highlight that kind of that's where we want to go and take the business. And that's where I see the value, especially into the future, when you can be at the forefront of that sort of technology as it's becoming more cost effective, where other people will lag behind.
Brilliant.
So, yeah.
Oh, amazing stuff. Thanks so much, Mike. I really appreciate having you on board and having you answer everybody's questions today. If anybody needs anything at all, please reach out to Mike or myself, and we'll be happy to answer any questions you've got. I'm really looking forward to your offer launching next week.
Great.
Thanks so much, Mike.